Hello and welcome back to Autistic After Hours. I'm your host, Ashra, and today we are going to be talking about the experience of constantly feeling misunderstood as an autistic person, but even more than that, the feeling of never being seen. If my setting looks different, if you're watching over on YouTube, that is because I'm recording from my mother's car, and that's because I'm home for the holidays and I have a very little nephew and he is quite loud inside the house, so I am recording from the car. Before we get into the episode, quick reminder to follow the podcast on Instagram. That's where I post original content every single week. Also, be sure to follow along anywhere you're listening right now, whether that's on Spotify, Apple, or YouTube. It helps me out a lot when you guys follow along. And without further ado, let's get into the episode. And I wanted to talk about this today because I hear a lot of people talk about the feeling of being seen, like feeling seen, feeling heard, feeling understood. And I don't often hear people actually break down what that feeling is and why it's something that a lot of people want and long for, especially people that are chronically misunderstood. So I will start from the beginning with saying that as an autistic person, I do feel very, very chronically misunderstood. I so often feel like people are not seeing me, like they are not seeing me the way that I see myself. I realized just now, sorry, I'm pausing for a second, I realized I felt weird, and it's because I'm not wearing my sunglasses. I guess now's a good time to address it. That is why I wear my sunglasses during recording the podcast, because it makes me feel really weird to feel like my eyes are being seen by people that are watching. So that is why I wear my sunglasses, and I realized just now I was having a hard time talking, and it was because I'm not wearing my sunglasses. And so I'm going to record the rest of this without really looking at the screen as much, because when I look at the screen, it reminds me that people are seeing my face and my eyes, and that makes me feel weird. So I'm going to attempt to not look at the screen as much because I don't have my sunglasses with me. Resuming into the episode. I feel very misunderstood, and this is a feeling that I've had for my whole life. I have very often felt like there was a mismatch between the way that I saw myself and the ways that other people saw me. And that has made me feel very misunderstood, and it's made me feel really confused about myself because it's created this dissonance of feeling like I have this external persona and this internal persona, or like this certain view of myself that doesn't seem to match the view that other people have of me. And I think the reason why this has been such a thing throughout my life is because as an autistic person, I very often feel like my tone is misunderstood, like my motives are misunderstood, my behaviors are misunderstood. I so often feel like people almost interpret me in direct opposition to the way that I meant something. So sometimes when I mean something as a joke, people think I'm being serious. Or if I mean something sarcastically, people think I'm being serious. And then when I'm trying to actually be serious, people find it funny. People think that I'm joking or making some sort of sarcastic remark when I'm actually trying to be serious. It's little things like that that happen all the time. Or even things like I mean to make a positive, very kind gesture towards somebody. Like I think that I'm doing something kind, and they will interpret it in the opposite way. They will think I'm being selfish. Or I will ask for more information or something to show the person that I'm interested, and they will take it as me being invasive. It's things like that all the time where my intentions are just always misunderstood. And it's really sad because I think this is common for a lot of autistic people, and it makes us feel really bad about ourselves. At least it's made me feel really bad about myself, because it's made me feel like I'm not a good person, because so often my behaviors, my intentions, everything are misunderstood in a way that's skewed toward the negative. It's skewed toward me being selfish, or me doing something wrong, or me being sarcastic in a rude way when actually I meant things in like a nice way, or I meant something seriously, or I meant something as a joke and it's taken the wrong way. It's things like this that happen all the time, and it makes me feel like a bad person. And that is where this feeling of being seen comes into play. So being seen, feeling seen, is an experience of, for me, feeling like the person is viewing me in a way that matches the way that I view myself. And I think the definition of this will change from person to person. For some people, feeling seen maybe feels like being understood, or feeling seen feels like being respected. And I think it's like a combination of a lot of different things. But at the bare minimum for me, feeling seen is a feeling of a match between the way that I see myself and the way that they are seeing me. It's a feeling of feeling like my intentions were understood the way that I meant them, or my behaviors were understood the way that I meant them. And it's like this feeling that makes you feel like you're sharing a moment with somebody, like you're sharing an experience with them, like you are on the same page. As an autistic person in my late 20s, I feel like I've only recently entered into a phase of exploring sex and intimacy in ways that actually feel pleasurable and aligned with my needs. And one of my biggest struggles in this process has been finding affirming support to supplement my journey. That is, until I found Beducated, which is an online platform with over 150 courses on sex and intimacy. It has been so helpful to me as somebody who needs a bit of extra support in this area. They have a huge variety of video tutorials, practical exercises, and reliable information. Entering into this new year, one of my biggest goals for 2026 is going to be learning about love and pleasure on my own terms and really aiming to instill confidence into my exploration. And I will definitely be making use of Beducated in order to do that in a safe way, exploring at my own pace. If you want to try out Beducated for yourself, you can click the link below in the episode description. You can kick off your journey by taking the quiz and getting your own personalized roadmap to sexual happiness. I think this is something that probably all humans want, probably all humans look for, and I think it's a big way that we feel connected to other people when we genuinely feel seen by them. But I think it's an especially uncommon experience for autistic people because of how chronically we are often misunderstood. It makes those moments really stand out. It makes the people really stand out that really see you. When you feel seen, understood, and accepted by somebody, it's just so rare. At least in my life, it's so rare for me to feel that way. I have people in my life that I feel a lot of love from, that I feel a lot of acceptance from. Like, I know that they would accept me no matter what. They love me no matter what. Yet, I feel misunderstood by them. And because of that, I don't really feel seen by them. And for some people, it's that they just don't understand me well enough to see me. For some people, it's that they just don't understand autism in general enough in order to be able to actually understand me and see me. But for others, I think it's also almost like a closed-mindedness, like a choice that they're making to not be willing to open up and see me. And I would say, like, the necessary conditions that I can think of in order to feel seen for me are I need to feel understood, I need to feel accepted, and I need to feel comfortable, and I also need to feel like they're seeing me the way that I see me. Those are the things that make me feel seen as a person, and it's so rare for me to feel that way because so often there is one of those components at least missing. Either they don't really understand me, but they do accept me, but they don't really understand me. Or like they understand, but they don't accept. Or they understand and accept, but they don't really make space for me to actually be myself. They don't really make me feel comfortable. Even if they understand and accept me, I don't feel comfortable for some reason. Or maybe even they understand me, they accept me, but for some reason, there's always just this miscommunication. There's always just this inability for us to communicate, even if they really make space to understand me or they make space to accept me. Sometimes on just this like subliminal level, there are just some people that you just don't really ever feel that comfortable around for some undetectable reason. Like you just feel like you can't really be yourself. Something holds you back from being yourself. And with those people, I don't feel seen. And so it's really rare for me to actually feel like, wow, this person like understands me. They accept me for who I am. They create space for me to like be me, and I feel comfortable and safe being myself. And I feel like the way they see me is really close to the way that I see me. Like it's so rare for that to happen. And I kind of feel like the only person that it's really come super close to happening with is my boyfriend. And I would say like there are a lot of other people that it's like close to that. But like with my boyfriend specifically, it's like very, very close. I feel like he very closely sees me to how I see me. But I think for a lot of autistic people, you go through your whole life and you feel like maybe there's no one who ever satisfied all of those things. And I want to make space for people that feel that way. I understand and can imagine that that is a very difficult and lonely situation. And I've felt that too. And I feel like I experience it slightly less now because I have like one person who does satisfy that for me. But I think so many of us don't have anybody who fully makes us feel seen. And it's very difficult to go through life feeling that way. And I just want you to know that you're not alone if you feel that. You are very much not alone. And I think in that feeling of not feeling seen, not feeling understood, accepted, all of these things, even though that can feel so isolating, I think it can feel comforting to know that there is this huge community of us that feel it together. Even though we aren't really like in the same place, like we're not in the same room, maybe we've never really even spoken one-on-one, but just knowing that there are so many other people out there in the world that experience something similar to what you're going through makes it slightly less of an isolating experience. It can make you feel a little bit seen even because you know that there's somebody or many people who know what you're feeling, like who know that depth of loneliness, of feeling like there is not a single person who sees you the way that you see you. And it's a very confusing and a very lonely experience. And I know how that feels. And I feel it with most people in my life. I think the feeling of being misunderstood follows very closely and goes with the feeling of not being seen. I think they're kind of one and the same. It's like if every single time you looked in a mirror, you were reflected something that didn't make sense to you. You were reflected something that looked different than the way you feel. It's like a mismatch, this mismatch, like feeling like you see yourself a certain way and like you understand yourself a certain way. But then when you go out into the world and you have encounters, people reflect something different back to you. And it creates this like very bizarre feeling of feeling like you can't trust yourself, feeling like you don't know yourself, feeling like for some reason that you can't exactly understand, people don't see you the way that you intend to come across, or like people don't see you the way that you mean to be, the way that you are. People misunderstand you. And it's not really that you are bad. It's not that you are doing things wrong necessarily. It's that people just very often misunderstand autism and autistic traits in people. It's very misunderstood. And because of things like the double empathy problem, instead of being met with like openness and curiosity, we are often met with people just making us feel bad or wrong or like we have to change. And I think that's the reason why it's so detrimental to be so chronically misunderstood. I've almost learned to come to terms with the feeling of being misunderstood, the feeling of not being seen, because I just know that because of my autistic traits, that's something that I'm going to feel a lot throughout life. But the thing that gives me hope is that there are some people, rare, but there are some people that won't make you feel like that. Even if it's like only online, like only in listening to these episodes, only in seeing other autistic creators talk about their experiences, even if it's only that, at least that's something. At least that's some feeling of feeling like you're not alone in going through this. But that is all I have for you today. I wanted to talk about this because I notice myself saying this a lot, like feeling seen, or like I want to feel seen, I want to feel understood, but I don't actually feel like I've unpacked what that means for me. And so again, that feeling of feeling seen, what that really means for me is feeling like a person is seeing me the way that I see me, and like there isn't this dissonance there, and like I can feel comfortable in making decisions, in being myself, because I'm not afraid of constantly having everything misunderstood. So feeling seen is feeling like they see me the way that I see me. That is all. Thank you so much for being here. As always, remember, autistic adults exist. We deserve awareness, support, community, and acceptance, and I'm so grateful that you're here. I'll talk to you again soon. Bye.